Part 18. Super God System becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Shu Xiangzike. Chapter 171. Just when Chu Wei was puzzled, he found a broken spear under a statue in the palace. This spear was not the kind of spear used in ancient times. Although the style was that of an ancient spear, its material seemed to be made of modern high-tech alloy steel. When Chu Wei touched it, the spear actually lit up with a flashing light, as if modern technology was detecting whether he was its owner. However, the flashing light went out quickly because the spear was broken and it seemed that many functions were about to disappear. Ding! Congratulations to the host for discovering a 4th level broken weapon, a super tech spear. 4th level weapon. Chu Wei's eyes widened. This weapon could definitely deal with people at the level of a Great Awakener, and perhaps even a 2nd level Awakener who had awakened a life form with superpowers could be injured. However, Chu Wei's excitement soon cooled down. Even if it was a 4th level weapon, what would it matter? It was broken. To put it bluntly, it was just a piece of garbage that was once glorious. Ding! System prompts that the host has enough materials to repair this weapon. Repair. How to repair it? Chu Wei asked immediately. System, asking this question will consume 2 wisdom attribute points of the host. Chu Wei nodded and agreed. System, use the red metal obtained by the host yesterday to repair this spear, but red metal is a 3rd level material. The repaired spear can only be regarded as a 3rd level weapon in terms of power. Chu Wei frowned and thought for a while, and the final decision was of course to repair this weapon. Even if the repaired spear is no longer a 4th level weapon, a 3rd level weapon can still greatly enhance Chu Wei's combat power. If he has a 3rd level weapon, then Chu Wei feels that he can fight against the Great Awakener even without the self-destruct talisman. As we all know, the Great Awakener has a supernatural form. He can turn his supernatural power into wings, and he can also turn his supernatural power into various weapons. Of course, turning supernatural power into weapons is not the point, just like Chu Wei can also use red electricity to turn it into a whip. The key is that the supernatural density of the Great Awakener is different, so it can be compared like this. Chu Wei's current supernatural power can only be regarded as mud in terms of density, but the supernatural power density of the Great Awakener is steel. The power between the two cannot be compared. Just like Chu Wei can now use the red lightning to turn into a sword, but Chu Wei's sword is made of mud, it will break at the touch, and it will only have the original power of the red lightning. But if the Great Awakening uses the fire power to turn into a sword, it will be a real sword. Not only can it cut and chop, but it also has the special ability of burning flames. This is the form of the power. There has always been a saying about this form of power. The power form can be transformed into a 360-degree power shield without dead ends. This kind of shield is absolutely unbreakable if it is not the same level of attack power, so many combat skills are useless in front of the Great Awakening. If his shield cannot be broken, he is invincible. So almost no one can defeat the Great Awakening who has the power form. Chu Wei took out his golden forge and began to repair this super technological spear in this 9-story extreme tower. Open the forge and throw the spear in. This spear was originally a 4th level weapon, and the material was very hard. Chu Wei consumed an unknown amount of spiritual energy just to melt it with the flame of the forge. Ding! The host is refining the spirit, and is rewarded with 5 spiritual attribute points. The current spiritual attribute points are 15 points. You can sense all movements within 15 meters around the body. Chu Wei felt a cool feeling in his mind, and the next moment, he could feel all the wind and grass within 15 meters. Even the flowing air can be felt. At the same time, Chu Wei was also stunned. Since he gained spiritual attribute points from the first refining, Chu Wei has never gained spiritual attribute points from refining. Unexpectedly, he started to gain spiritual attribute points again this time. Does it mean that I have to refine weapons that exceed my own level to gain spiritual attribute points? Chu Wei is now refining to repair 4th level weapons, which is far beyond his 2nd level refiner level. This is an unexpected surprise. You know, the more spiritual attribute points, the larger Chu Wei's keen perception range will be. The larger the perception range, Chu Wei can avoid other people's attacks in advance within this range. Chu Wei calls this keenness the 6th sense. Chu Wei continued to repair the spear. About an hour later, when Chu Wei was sweating profusely, the golden forge in front of Chu Wei suddenly opened. A spear more than 1 meter long appeared from the forge. As soon as the spear appeared, the flashing light on its body immediately lit up. A kind of glory that once belonged to it seemed to light up again. Super God system becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Xu Xiangzike. Chapter 172. Chu Wei took out the super tech spear. As soon as he took it out, Chu Wei poured a spiritual energy from his body into the spear. The spear immediately turned blue as if it was fully charged, and then a laser shot out from the tip of the gun. With the sound of touch, the tiles of the palace above Chu Wei were shot directly through. The blue laser not only shot through the tiles, but also shot into the sky, like a meteor, and disappeared after a while. Laser gun. Chu Wei chuckled, but he didn't expect that this super tech spear actually had such a function. I wonder how powerful it is in close combat. Spears were considered melee weapons in ancient times. Logically speaking, melee combat should be the best way to unleash the power of the spear. Chu Wei held the spear in one hand and stabbed forward fiercely. At this moment, Chu Wei was surprised to find that the airflow around the gun head seemed to form a vortex at this moment. Boom, with a sound, the gun tip pierced a wall of the palace. The entire wall collapsed. The power of 3rd level weapons is indeed extraordinary. Chu Wei put away the spear. With it, Chu Wei, a person in the realm of the Great Awakener, could also fight. Then Chu Wei began to continue to collect on this 4th level. Soon Chu Wei collected a lot of 3rd level materials and some worn out and damaged 4th level equipment. These 4th level equipment include armor, wings, etc. Chu Wei calculated that if all these 4th level equipment were repaired, Chu Wei would probably have a set of 3rd level powerful equipment. Ding. The system prompts that it has been 2 hours since the host entered the extreme tower, and the host is about to return to the real space. Unknowingly, it had been 2 hours since Chu Wei entered the extreme tower this time. It seems that these equipments need to be repaired by this time tomorrow. Chu Wei returned to reality. The next day. Not long after dawn, Principal Longfang came to Chu Wei's room. Student Chu, the main reason I came here today is to talk to you about the challenge. After hearing this, Chu Wei sat casually on the sofa. In this so-called challenge competition, as long as Chu Wei wants to, he can definitely take first place in all events. Although he doesn't know how to refine medicine for the time being, becoming a 2nd level alchemist only requires 2 wisdom attribute points. It only takes a matter of minutes to beat Nanshan Academy, which has been number 1 in medicine refining for many years. People from other colleges don't need to worry about it, but this Fu Dong, as the principal, I must remind you that he is the grandson of Fu Hua, the Great Awakener. Chu Wei frowned slightly. Is the principal afraid? Principal, you don't mean to say that if you beat Fu Hua's grandson, we won't have a good life, right? Do you want me to lose to him on purpose? Chu Wei heard that it was very common to deliberately lose the game during the game. For example, there were many rumors of match fixing in various billiards and football games on Earth in 2019. Generally, people who play match fixing are afraid of offending others and being threatened by others. Isn't this situation similar to my current situation? In this northern city, even if someone could beat Fu Dong, probably no one would dare to hit Fu Dong in the face for the sake of the Fu family. When the principal heard this, he quickly said, "How can that be impossible? I have made complete preparations this time. You can fight with confidence. If something happens, the principal will take care of you. Chu Wei was slightly stunned. What did the principal want to tell him? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God system becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Xu Xiangzike. Chapter 173. I want to tell you that Fu Dong is a well-known genius in NATO City. I heard that his strength has reached level 8 of a superpower, and he can fight against the awakened. It's really scary. Don't tell me how awesome he is. I don't want to hear it and I don't care. I'm just telling you that I will beat him up. Chu Wei paused for a moment, then condensed his eyes, and then said, if his father, the city lord, refuses to accept it, then he will beat his father. If his grandfather refuses to accept it? Even if he is a great awakener, I, Chu Wei, can still defeat him. The principal's wrinkled eyes twitched and he looked at Chu Wei. He knew that Chu Wei could fight the awakened. Although it was hard to believe that Chu Wei could fight across level 9, he believed it. But now Chu Wei actually said that he wanted to confront the Great Awakened One, which was simply shocking. In his mind, Chu Wei's words could no longer be said to be arrogant, but simply lawless. The realm of spiritual cultivation is first the superpower, the awakened person, and then the Great Awakener. Chu Yk is a level 1 superpower, if he were to fight against the Great Awakener now. That means he will span 18 small realms and 2 big realms. This is just crazy. If an average person can crush someone of the same level, they are already very good. If they can surpass one level, that would be considered outstanding. If he could surpass level 2 like Fu Dong, he would be considered a genius. But it is simply a fantasy that Chu Wei has crossed level 18 like this. No one has ever heard of it. Classmate Chu, the principal was once young, and I know that at your age, you refuse to admit defeat and are not afraid of trouble. This was originally a good thing. However, we still need some practical basis. The teacher has confidence in you and believes that you can deal with the awakened ones, but not the great awakened ones. You are too young. Of course, the teacher believes in your potential, and your future achievements are absolutely immeasurable, but this time you can rest assured that Principal Fu Hua, who is in the Great Awakening realm, will be able to deal with it. Chu Wei knew that the principal did not believe that he could fight against the Great Awakener, but Chu Wei didn't say much. Anyway, if Fu Hua dares to intervene in today's challenge, then he will take out the Super Tech Spear and fight the Great Awakener. The two of them did not continue talking about this topic. After a while, the two walked out of the room and headed towards the hotel entrance. All the people in Taiyuan City gathered there to participate in today's challenge. When leaving the room, Chu Wei said, "Principal, thank you for taking care of me during this time. Don't worry, I will definitely win the championship of this challenge. This is what I promised you, and I will help you win at school honors." The principal turned back, his eyes full of relief. "But, after this competition is completed, I'm afraid I will leave here after a while." "Leave?" The principal was surprised. Chu Wei didn't explain much and walked on. With Chu Wei's current strength, it really makes no sense to stay in a small place like Taiyuan City. Chu Wei can only wait for the challenge to end and get the huge spiritual energy stone as the championship reward. Then break the magic ceiling formation of the mutated forest. Get the great sword. Then Chu Wei wanted to go to the world of this era and explore to his heart's content, to experience the beauties, power, and everything else of this era. Of course, Chu Wei also has another goal. He wants to become the strongest man of this era. If you want to ask why, it is that Chu Wei never wants to be bullied by anyone in his life. Then become the strongest. After Chu Wei met everyone at the door of the hotel, under the leadership of Longfang, Chu Wei, and others arrived at yesterday's competition venue. At this moment, the auditorium around the venue was already packed with people. Super God system becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Shuxiang ZK. Chapter 174. The audience is bigger today than yesterday. Obviously everyone knows that today's game is the final ranking of this joint school competition. Now let's invite the first place finishers of all yesterday's events, the host shouted loudly with a loudspeaker. 5 event champions including Chu Wei, Zhang Bufan, and Fu Dong entered the venue one after another. Which school do you think will be the champion in this competition? Does this need to be said? There has never been a time when the championship was not from our NATO city. Someone in the audience had already started a heated discussion. That's true, then let's guess the last one. There's no need to guess about this. Of course it's Taiyuan City. Even if their Chu Wei performed well yesterday, what can he do if he's the only one? Could it be that Chu Wei could still challenge the first place in other events? If he dares to challenge, our young master Fu Dong from NATO City will beat him and make him cry for his father and mother. The person next to him nodded, that's right. Master Fu Dong is a genius in supernatural combat. No country bumpkin in NATO City can compare with him. Even if this country bumpkin is more outstanding, he is just a more outstanding country bumpkin. Ha ha ha. What you described is so apt. Who wants to challenge for the first place in yesterday's project? The host shouted loudly, standing next to Chu Wei, Fu Dong, and other 5 people. The host doesn't have to go to the trouble of asking about each project. Chu Wei suddenly spoke calmly. The host turned to look at Chu Wei with confusion on his face. What do you mean? Chu Wei walked dozens of steps forward, then turned around and stood opposite the host, Fu Dong, and other first-place winners in several events. Then Chu Wei said, because I, Chu Wei, want to challenge for the first place in all events at once. At this moment, Chu Wei's eyes were like a lion awakening. At this moment, Chu Wei's clothes were windless. At this moment, Chu Wei's momentum exploded crazily, and a fighting spirit rushed straight into the entire competition venue with tens of thousands of people. You, classmate Chu, you, want to challenge for first place in all events at once? The host stuttered and asked. He has been hosting competitions for almost 10 years, but this is the first time he has encountered this situation. This is the first time this has happened. If Chu Wei is not absolutely sure about this kind of thing, then he is crazy. No matter how good a person is, it is impossible to be outstanding in all aspects. At least in the 10 years he has been in charge, no one has ever dared to challenge the first place in all projects at once. He Chu Wei is definitely the first. Oh my god, did you hear clearly just now? This guy from Taiyuan City actually wants to challenge for the first place in all events at once. Yes. Where does he get his confidence? He's so cool like that. That's so damn crazy. I saw that he was pretending to be displeased when he was refining the weapon yesterday. My young master Fu Dong, who ranks first in the superpower project in NATO City, please beat him to death. Yes, beat him. Hit him. Hit him. The scene suddenly erupted in enthusiastic cheers of anticipation. At this moment, even the principal Longfang at the judges' table changed his face slightly. Hearing the voices around him wanting to beat Chu Wei, he really didn't expect this kid to be so capable of inciting hatred. Fu Qinli, the leader of NATO City at the judges' table, looked at Chu Wei and smiled disdainfully. A person with a level 1 superpower who is so crazy is really a real bumpkin entering the city. Got used to it in a small place. I'm afraid he will know what true genius is when he meets Dong-er. The principals of other schools on the judges' table were also shocked. They had been teaching for so many years, and they didn't know how to describe such crazy students. At this moment, Chu Wei, who was on the playing field, said to the host, "Are you okay with the shock? If you're okay with the shock, you can call the start. Chu Wei's words were very light, but there was a sense of majesty in them. Just as the host was about to speak, Mo Fu from Dongshi College next to him took a step forward and said, "Let me, the number one in the carving array project, teach you what you can do." As soon as Mo Fu finished speaking, Chu Wei waved forward with one hand, and his spiritual energy surged. The spiritual energy was like lines on a paintbrush in front of Chu Wei's hand, quickly sketching out a formation at the peak of a first-level formation master in front of Chu Wei, one stroke at a time. Super God system becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Shu Xiangzike. Chapter 175. Looking at this formation, Mo Fu's eyes widened. The opponent's speed in carving out the formation was too fast and too skillful. This has far exceeded his level as a first-order engraving master. In Mo Fu's panicked eyes, Chu Wei pushed forward with one hand, and the first-order peak formation he carved was directly imprinted on Mo Fu's body. The formation exploded, and blades formed by spiritual energy shot out from the formation, covering the entire area around Mo Fu's body. The clothes on Mo Fu's body were immediately cut into strips, just like a beggar's clothes. "Next one." Chu Wei spoke coldly. The first-level formation master of Dongshi Academy, who was highly praised yesterday, has been defeated by Chu Wei. The two were fighting formations. Chu Wei's formation had taken shape and the attacks had arrived, but Mo Fu's formation had not yet had time to be carved. If Chu Wei had thought about it just now, he could have let the blade in the formation kill Mo Fu instead of cutting his clothes like a beggar. In an instant, there was silence in the audience. Mo Fu, the genius who only appeared yesterday, was defeated by Chu Wei in an instant. The host next to him opened his mouth wide and couldn't react at all. "I'll do it." However, the first-place winner in yesterday's physical fitness event stood out. His name is Suneng. He has very strong muscles, like a bodybuilding champion. The muscles on his body bulge like rocks. But with his macho figure, he only wore a red tight vest. This looks a bit irritating. Just as Suneng stood up, Chu Wei stepped forward and jumped up like a lion. At the same time, he raised his fist high and punched Suneng directly. Chu Wei's punch had no martial arts skills, no transformation, and no use of the arm of power. This punch was all Chu Wei's own physical strength. When Chu Wei was at the 9th level of spiritual energy, his physical strength reached the limit of 20,000 kilograms. At this moment, Chu Wei is already at the 2nd level of the realm of superpowers. In addition, he later gained strength attribute points after breaking through the limit. Chu Wei's current physical strength is about 30,000 to 40,000 kilograms. Such punches continued to magnify in Suneng's eyes, and Suneng felt a chill in his heart. He did not dare to punch Chu Wei's fist head-on. He was the first in physical fitness yesterday, and his physical strength was already 10,000 kilograms. But in front of Chu Wei's fist, he felt as if the opponent was like the ocean and he was just a river. How can a small river compete with the sea? Chu Wei's fist finally stopped a few centimeters in front of Suneng's head. When the fist stopped, the strong wind brought by the fist because of its great strength blew the hair on Suneng's head back. Even the muscles on his face were dented by the blow. If Chu Wei hit Suneng with this punch, it can be easily imagined that Suneng's head will definitely explode under one punch. "I lost," Suneng said in despair, turned around and walked out of the venue. "Next one." Chu Wei looked at the two remaining people on the field. One was Fu Dong and the other was Zhang Bufan, a first-level alchemist. In a moment, the first place in the other two events had been lost to Chu Wei. "I don't believe you are so outstanding in every aspect." Zhang Bufan stood up. Their Nanshan College studies refining medicine, and their college has always ranked first in this project. Although Chu Wei was good at refining weapons, was good at carving formations, and had great physical strength, he didn't know that Chu Wei was good at refining medicine. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God System becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Sci-Fi. Chapter 176. You should know that a person's energy is limited. Even if you don't eat or drink and study every day, you can't master so many subjects. Soon, 2 alchemy furnaces for competition rose from the ground. At the same time, there were some medicinal materials on the side. Chu Wei and Zhang Bufan stood in front of an alchemy furnace, and the challenge of alchemy competition officially began. I don't believe that one person can be so awesome. Don't pretend. Zhang Bufan shouted, and started to make medicine like he didn't believe in evil. He wanted to see how Chu Wei would beat him. Chu Wei looked at Zhang Bufan, shook his head and said, "You know nothing about knowledge." Chu Wei said to the system in his mind, "System, I want to consume 2 wisdom attribute points to directly enter the second level peak alchemist. Alchemy is the same as refining equipment. The first level requires 1 wisdom point and the second level also requires 1 point, which adds up to only 2 points. Compared with the 100 wisdom points of becoming a second level engraver, becoming a second level alchemist is too cheap." Ding. System prompt: 2 wisdom attribute points have been deducted. The host has obtained the second level alchemy knowledge, and can refine all second level items. After the wisdom attribute points are deducted, there are 11 points left. The voice of the system just ended. Chu Wei only felt a crazy influx of knowledge about alchemy in his mind. When Chu Wei looked up at the alchemy furnace and the medicinal materials in front of him again, Chu Wei only felt that these things were extremely familiar, and the characteristics and functions of each medicinal material were clearly known to him. He has become a peak alchemist of the second level. Chu Wei calmly threw the medicinal materials into the alchemy furnace one by one. Then he used spiritual energy to ignite the flame in the alchemy furnace, and the medicinal materials began to melt one by one, and the melted medicinal materials began to condense into the shape of a pill-like liquid. But after a while, a faint medicinal fragrance came from Chu Wei's alchemy furnace. This is a sign that the pill is about to be made. The scent of medicine also drifted into the nose of Zhang Bufan on the opposite side. Zhang Bufan was originally concentrating on refining the elixir. After smelling the scent of medicine, he looked up at Chu Wei. At a glance, his eyes were as if he had seen a ghost. At this moment, Chu Wei had already opened the alchemy furnace, and 2 green pills floated out of it. Chu Wei had successfully refined the elixir. He was shocked. How could this be possible? How could the other party's alchemy technique be so fast? This was faster than their principal. Their principal was a second-level alchemist, the most powerful in refining medicine in the entire Nanshan. Could this Chu Wei also be a second-level alchemist? But how could he be so awesome? Zhang Bufan was dissatisfied, shocked, and failed. All kinds of emotions filled his mind in an instant. He could no longer continue to refine the elixir calmly. His right hand, which was originally controlling the flame of the alchemy furnace, also shook, and the flame in the furnace immediately exploded uncontrollably. With a boom, his furnace exploded. The elixir he refined naturally turned into ashes. It can be said that he was so nervous after seeing Chu Wei make the elixir that he was scared to death. The host next to him took a breath. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he really couldn't believe that the student named Chu Wei in front of him had actually reached the peak level of the second-level alchemist. Adding the previous engraving master project, physical fitness project, and his own refining project yesterday, this Chu Wei has already won the first place in 4 items. Oh my god! Is this Chu Wei the spokesperson of genius? The surrounding audience seats still maintained a quiet atmosphere, which had never appeared in previous competitions. Tens of thousands of spectators were in a state of shock at this moment. They all forgot to comment. Super God System becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Xu Xiangzike. Chapter 177. Chu Wei waved his hand on the competition field and placed the prepared elixir from the alchemy furnace on the equipment next to him. He did not wait for the host to announce who won. There was no need to announce it at all, because everyone knew that Chu Wei crushed Zhang Bufan. You are the last one. Chu Wei looked at Fu Dong on the opposite side. At this moment, only Fu Dong and Chu Wei were left on the field. Chu Wei swept away 3 of the students who were originally the first in 4 projects. Even the host did not know when he ran to the side. The host looked at Chu Wei in front of him with a microphone. He felt that this student did not need him to host at all. This was completely his solo show. Fu Dong laughed and said calmly, "I didn't expect you, a bumpkin." However, before Fu Dong finished speaking, Chu Wei moved his body and kicked Fu Dong sideways as fast as a shadow. Chu Wei's current agility attribute value is 105 points, and he can attack 53 times per second on average. At such a speed, people could only see a shadow passing by when the kick was launched. Unexpectedly, Chu Wei attacked directly. Fu Dong, who was at the 8th level of the superpower, had no time to dodge and had to raise his arm to block. Bang! Chu Wei's side kick directly kicked Fu Dong's arm. Although Fu Dong blocked it, the strength of Chu Wei's kick far exceeded his expectations. The strength of Chu Wei's kick was like a boulder that could break tens of thousands of pounds. Under this huge force, Fu Dong's whole body was kicked directly and flew dozens of meters on the field before stopping. However, Fu Dong was a superpower at the 8th level after all. When he landed on all fours. Although he was a little embarrassed, he did not suffer any actual damage. Although Fu Dong did not suffer any actual damage, this caused the entire originally silent audience to burst into a series of surprised and suspicious voices. Oh my god! Am I seeing right? This Chu Wei actually kicked Master Fu Dong away. How is this possible? Master Fu Dong is a level 8 psychic, and he is the current number 1 talent of NATO. How could he be kicked away by a bumpkin from Taiyuan City? Compared to the exclamations in the audience, the people in the judges' seats were solemn at this moment. The principal of NATO looked at Chu Wei with an undisguised shock in his eyes. This young man was too outstanding. He had already won the first place in 4 of the 5 projects. This is already an all-round genius. Although the kick he just gave Fu Dong seemed to be only at the level 2 level of psychic in terms of realm, his burst of power and speed in an instant made Fu Dong, who was a level 8 psychic, suffer a small loss. We don't know how much more Chu Wei from Taiyuan City has. Fu Qinli, the lord of NATO City next to the principal of NATO, was also looking at Chu Wei at this moment, but his face was very gloomy. This country bumpkin, dare to attack my Dong-er. He looked at Chu Wei with murderous intent in his eyes. No one in NATO City has ever dared to be better than the Fu family. He has never dared to compete with the Fu family for glory. This Chu Wei really deserves to die. On the field, Fu Dong stood up and said gloomily, "You dare to attack me?" Chu Wei kept his body in a kicking posture and said disdainfully, "I just want to beat you into a bear quickly, because you talk too much." Fu Dong's eyes were gloomy enough to kill people. A ball of yellow lightning flashed on his left hand, a wind blade appeared on his right hand, and a purple rain appeared on his head. Fu Dong was angry, and 3 superpowers appeared together. Super God system becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Xu Xiangzike. Chapter 178. Chu Wei's eyes moved slightly. In addition to his own 3 superpowers, this was the first time Chu Wei saw someone else with 3 superpowers. In the realm of superpowers, for every extra superpower a spiritual cultivator has, the person's combat power will double. This Fu Dong can fight against the awakened realm at the level of superpower 8, which seems to rely on these 3 superpowers. It is rumored that the one who has obtained the most superpowers in the realm of superpowers in the East Union is the idol of ordinary people, King Nan. King Nan has obtained 7 superpowers in this realm. It is rumored that when he was at the level 3 of superpowers, he was invincible in the entire level 1-9 of superpowers, which is enough to show that the number of superpowers has an absolute impact on combat power. However, Chu Wei's eyes only moved slightly. Although the opponent's strength is not weak, it is not enough for Chu Wei now. When Chu Wei's spiritual energy was at level 9, he could kill the awakened. Now Chu Wei is already a level 2 superpower, and he has also obtained a new superpower, Dark Water. Agility exclusive skill, Teleportation. Exclusive skill for physical strength value, Boiling Blood. And the strength attribute value is stronger than that time, and the other attribute values are also improved a lot at the same time. It can be said that if Chu Wei now meets the awakened Li Long, then Li Long is basically a scum in front of Chu Wei. As for Chu Wei's current combat power, Chu Wei believes that even if he does not rely on the latest 3rd level equipment, Chu Wei can at least fight against people at the 5th level of awakening. So, Fu Dong, who is not bad on the opposite side of Chu Wei, is actually just a weak chicken. It's just that Fu Dong is much stronger than other people at the same level. You pissed me off. Fu Dong roared, and attacked Chu Wei with 3 superpowers. 3 superpowers surrounded the fist, and the air was split to both sides by this punch. This punch is very powerful. If he used to deal with people like Chu Wei who are at the 2nd level of superpowers, Fu Dong would usually only use 1 superpower at most. But Chu Wei's kick just now made Fu Dong angry. Although Fu Dong was not injured, he had never been kicked dozens of meters away in front of so many people. He wanted to crush Chu Wei with 1 move and let the other party know how stupid it was to challenge him. Chu Wei's eyes were calm, his body shook, and red dragon scales appeared on his body. The half-dragon state had covered Chu Wei's body. Chu Wei's combat power instantly doubled, enough to compete with people at the 3rd level of the superpower realm. Then the red lightning and flames on Chu Wei's hands lit up. At the same time, a layer of dark liquid covered his hands, which was the new superpower Dark Water. With the 3 superpowers appearing at the same time, Chu Wei's combat power doubled again, enough to compete with people at the 4th level of the superpower. Then Chu Wei raised his right fist high, and the biceps on his arm bulged high, and the color turned into steel-like gray. The first gear of the arm of strength has been used. Chu Wei's combat power doubled again, enough to compete with people at the 5th level of the superpower realm. Chu Wei put all the strength and speed in his body into his fist. Chu Wei's physical strength was originally far beyond that of ordinary people and had reached its limit. Now all of it was put into his fist. Chu Wei's combat power increased by another 4 times, and he could already compete with a level 7 psychic. The formation on Chu Wei's arm lit up again, and the formation engraver's formation was added again. Chu Wei was already able to compete with a level 8 psychic. In a short period of time, Chu Wei's combat power continued to increase like a flood. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Super God system becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Shu Xiang ZK. Chapter 179. At the same time, Chu Wei's momentum became stronger and stronger. This momentum made tens of thousands of audiences in the audience feel numb in just a moment. Because the fighting power Chu Wei showed now was enough to kill 99% of the people in the audience in seconds. However, Chu Wei's momentum was still rising. I saw Chu Wei's raised fist changed again. This time it was no longer the biceps on the arm, but the whole arm was bulging, showing a gray steel color. The second gear of the arm of power has been opened. Chu Wei pulled his fist back, and then punched it hard, and his fist went right to Fu Dong's fist. My punch is enough to defeat anyone below the Awakener realm. Boom, a loud noise. The powerful punches of the 2 people collided directly with each other. At this moment, the superpowers on the fists of the two people burst into a magical light, and the red lightning and yellow lightning kept colliding. At the same time, flames rose, and purple rain flew. Not only that, the superpowers of the two people even covered the surrounding area of dozens of meters in the collision of one punch. The area of tens of meters was full of superpowers. The two of them had 6 superpowers in total, and the center of the fist collision exploded with a colorful energy storm. This colorful storm made tens of thousands of spectators stare at it. So strong. Even the principals of the parties on the judges' bench stood up at this moment. Most of them were at the level 5 of superpowers. The competition of the two students below had completely surpassed their strength. They looked at the center of the battle on the field one by one, and they even held their breath. They waited for the result of this punch. The energy storm on the field gradually dissipated, and at the same time, a figure flew back from the dispersing storm like a sandbag. Obviously, this person was the loser in the collision just now. When the figure landed, tens of thousands of spectators and the principals on the judges' bench saw the figure clearly. It was Fu Dong, who was at the level 8 of superpowers. At this moment, Fu Dong had blood at the corner of his mouth, and there were traces of burning on one arm. At the same time, the clothes on his entire right arm had already turned into ashes. Obviously, Fu Dong was at a disadvantage in the powerful collision just now, and was beaten back by Chu Wei. The energy in the venue finally dissipated completely, revealing Chu Wei's figure. Chu Wei was still standing there. He casually placed his hand on the side of his body and said lightly, "The first genius of NATO City is just like this. Suck." The audience was full of gasps. Fu Dong, the first young genius of NATO City, who was a level 8 superpower, actually lost to Chu Wei in the collision just now. How is this possible? Someone in the audience muttered to himself in disappointment. Fu Dong of NATO City has always been the pride of their NATO City. Whenever outsiders mentioned the word genius in NATO City, the people of NATO City were proud to say that your genius must not be as good as our NATO genius Fu Dong. But now, the always proud Fu Dong was beaten back. Moreover, his opponent was a person at the level 2 superpower realm. What kind of monster is this Chu Wei? Dong-er. Fu Qinli, who was sitting on the judge's bench, felt his heart tighten because he saw that Fu Dong's arm was also bleeding. His strength far exceeded that of the people in the audience, so he knew more clearly that Chu Wei had broken Fu Dong's right arm in the punch between Fu Dong and Chu Wei just now. Your right arm has lost its fighting power. You lost. I beat you into a bear with just one punch, Chu Wei continued slowly. In the future, don't pester Mo Kong Xiu, otherwise, you know what will happen. You are no match for me under my fist. Don't make trouble for yourself. And I don't have much interest in beating you. After all, you are too weak. Super God system becomes infinitely stronger. Author, Xu Xiangzike. Chapter 180. Just as Chu Wei finished his calm and carefree speech, the audience in the surrounding seats gasped again. Too amazing, he actually said that Master Fu was too weak. Oh my god, what the hell is this Chu Wei? How could he be so strong? He is only at the level 2 of the superpower. Besides the people in the audience, the most shocked person was Mo Kongming from Taiyuan City. He had always believed that Chu Wei was definitely not Fu Dong's opponent. After all, Fu Dong was at the level 8 of the superpower. In his impression, such a person was enough to sweep away everyone in Taiyuan City. How is it possible? How could Master Fu lose to Chu Wei? This is impossible. Fu Dong still couldn't believe it. Brother Chu is awesome. It was Tang Chao next to Mo Kongming who made a shocking call. Mo Kongxiu's beautiful face also flashed a smile, and at the same time recalled Chu Wei's words yesterday, if you don't want to marry, don't marry. If they dare to force you, I will beat them. Chu Wei had made it very clear on the field just now, asking Fu Dong not to bother him anymore. Chu Wei's words in front of her were being fulfilled step by step. Brother Chu is awesome. Another classmate from Taiyuan City who came to participate in the competition shouted. Those who came to participate in the competition from Taiyuan City were ridiculed every year. He was ridiculed yesterday. Today, Chu Wei's performance that made all the audience in Taiyuan City gasp for air really made him feel happy from the bottom of his heart. Brother Chu is awesome. Brother Chu is awesome. Brother Chu is awesome. The contestants from Taiyuan City spoke out one after another. At this moment, it was as if the resentment of being ridiculed for many years was finally released. Brother Chu is awesome. Brother Chu is awesome. Brother Chu is awesome. The people from Taiyuan City shouted one after another, and the voices became louder and louder, and finally they felt hoarse. Most of them may not have a very good relationship with Chu Wei at ordinary times, but at this moment, they really felt honored because of Chu Wei. Today, Taiyuan City School finally raised its head in NATO City. Taiyuan City Ziyuling School is mighty. However, Chu Wei on the field shouted out the name of Taiyuan City Ziyuling School. This time, participating in the competition was originally entirely induced by the principal, and Chu Wei also promised to help the principal win glory, because he was about to leave Taiyuan City, and he should thank the principal for his care all the time. As soon as Chu Wei's words came out, the emotions of the people participating in the Taiyuan City competition immediately became like adding fuel to the fire, and they immediately shouted, Taiyuan City Ziyuling School is mighty. Taiyuan City Ziyuling School is mighty. On the judge's seat, Principal Longfang listened to the Taiyuan City Ziyuling School's mighty voice, and his heart couldn't help but sour. He had lived for more than a dozen years and his eyes almost turned red at this moment. What is glory? When the students of his own Taiyuan City shouted Taiyuan City Ziyuling School was mighty on the field, this was glory. This means that his Taiyuan City Ziyuling Academy raised his head. It also means that Longfang, who had been ranked last for half his life, finally experienced the taste of being the first. Stinky boy, I was right about you. Longfang suppressed his excitement and looked at Chu Wei happily. Do you think you won? I don't accept it. At this moment, Fu Dong on the field spoke. Although the blood on his right arm was flowing more and more, a crazy look appeared on his face.